Now, there was somebody towards the front on this side, was there? Or I could, no, it's, there's a gentleman raising a pencil. And then there's a lady in blue, two rows in front.
It's been my good fortune to have spent 3 months travelling around the world recently. And I started with 2 books, and in the course of the 3 months, swapped one whenever I finished it for another, and managed to read about a dozen. So I'd like to ask the panelists, which 2 books would you take with you on such a journey? And what would you prefer to swap it for?
Anybody prepared to volunteer an answer? Be quick, or I shall just swoop on something. Yes.
The political books that you take with you this summer. I can't believe no one's mentioned D.H. Lawrence in the context of political novelists. I mean, I'm getting more and more into his stuff after really disliking it for a long time. It's astonishing, and the essays that he backs up his fiction with. I mean, he was an obsessive essayist, defending everything he did. So I would take a book. In fact, I would take Lady Chatterley's Lover and read it again, and I would take his book of essays, which was published as Sex, Literature and Censorship. He errs on the side of being a complete nutter at some point, and then suddenly he'll drop in 3 paragraphs where it sends shivers up your spine. You're like, you are so right. So I would take that.
I so much agree with that, and I'd add to your list of Lawrence novels one which is disgracefully out of print now, and that's Kangaroo, his novel about Australia, which has long, turgid passages which are almost impossible to wade through, and then moments of observation of Australia and of Australians, which, though from about 1919, still ring true today. Any other suggestions?
I would take What a Carve Up by Jonathan Coe, which I think is a great contemporary political novel. If you haven't read it, you really must. It'll have you splitting your sides with laugh, that everything is so recognisable. It zips along. It's got passages of complete absurdity, also passages of great poignancy. It's a wonderful book. I want to say something about Lawrence, because that brings me back to your previous question about a writer whose politics you really, really don't get on with, but you would still say is a great writer. And Lawrence is very much that. I mean, Kangaroo essentially is defence of fascism, isn't it? And yet, as you say, it's a brilliant piece of writing, and it does exactly make you question those things in yourself and bring you up against your own barriers.
Robert. I would pick up on the speaker over there. I would take All the King's Men, the Robert McCrum. I'd also take Primary Colours by Joe Klein, which is a very, very political book about the Clinton campaign of 1992. It's a marvellously thrilling book written from the inside by somebody who knew exactly what was going on. And it's a marvellous read.
Delia.
I would take some Dickens. I would take, I think I'd take Little Doris. I was reading a piece that Overland Mann wrote, it was a Guardian Observer 2 weeks ago. And it was on that old sort of show and tell thing about, writing. And I think I'm sure like a lot of people, seen Little Doris again on television, I haven't read it for years. Actually, I'd like to go back and see, in detail how Dickens shows us the Marshalsea and how people respond to good and evil in that society. I think that's what I'd take.
Now, maybe one more question. There was somebody at the front, wasn't there? Yes, there we are. Already.
It's just that I wondered how obvious a novel has to be, because I can still remember reading Moby Dick without realising. Moby Dick, and thinking it was a lot about, I learned a great deal more than I expected on Wales, but I didn't realise until I got to the very end, actually, that it really was a very political novel.
Oh,
you had to know about American politics to understand that, and as an English schoolgirl.
Political journalist by myself and a sketch writer, Tony Blair was always my Moby Dick, and I never got him anything. Before I decide what to do next, I got here in such a rush to be here in time for the beginning that I never asked anybody when we end. When are we supposed to? So give me a shout. Is it now?
Normally, 1:45.
Yes. Have we a few minutes more?
Oh, we've got.
So, good. Well, I don't think 20, but I think another 10 minutes, because there are more questions from the audience, and then I would like the panel to contribute a thought at the end.